For the others who have not, let's get started with the session. I'm so sorry for the delay. And without any further ado, a quick formal introduction on my end. My name is Mohammed Shoaib. I'm a cybersecurity trainer certified from EC Council, the leading certification for organization for cybersecurity. And I have done certifications such as CEH, Certified Ethical Hacking, Web Application Pen Testing, and SOC, Security Operations Center Analyst. Okay. And our demo today is on Certified Ethical Hacking version 11, the latest version of the course for people who want to get started in the domain of cybersecurity. Okay. So before that, this is a common question that I usually ask the students again, just to understand their perspective. So can anyone over here tell me, according to their views, what is hacking? Again, Rakesh, you can skip this because you've attended the session yesterday. So I'm pretty sure you already know the answer. So for the others who could not attend the session yesterday, again, guys, let's keep this a bit interactive and fun and not just one-sided. So any answers? Rohit or Deepak?
Like from my perspective, like hacking is kind of gaining an unauthorized access of system.
That's a perfect answer. Rohit, there's nothing wrong in that. Exactly correct. So again, just to build up on your words, hacking is nothing but the process of trying to gain access to information systems without the permission or in an unauthorized way. Okay. And these information systems could be anything. They could be as small as a mobile phone to as big as a web application server also. Okay. And this is done by hackers for their own benefit. So once they get access to the devices, they can steal the data or just destroy the data or just sell the data on the black market or the dark web. Okay. Now, if hacking seems such a malicious task, why do we have a course called ethical hacking is the second question. Okay. Because the whole course itself is called Certified Ethical Hacking. And ethical is something which is completely legal and which is completely allowed. Okay. So on the contrary, to define ethical hacking is a procedure of trying to find vulnerabilities. So a vulnerability is nothing but a weakness, a flaw, or a loophole in the information system. And this is done with the consent of the organization. So you work hand in hand with the organization to find the weaknesses. And once you find them, you report them back to the company so that they can patch those weaknesses. And once they are patched, that closes the doorway for the hacker to cause any further harm. So thereby, with ethical hacking, you're trying to increase the security of the organization rather than causing any harm. Now, depending on these two definitions, guys, once we get this clear, there's different categories of hackers again. There's someone known as a black hat hacker, there's someone known as a gray hat hacker, and finally, there's someone known as a white hat hacker. A black hat hacker, also known commonly as a cyber criminal, is someone who performs hacking for his own benefit. Okay, and he does this in an unauthorized way without asking for permission or consent from the organization. On the other hand, we have the white hat hacker, also known as the ethical hacker or penetration tester. Now, these people are the ones who perform ethical hacking or penetration testing by abiding by the laws and policies of the organization without crossing a line, and then they do it to increase the security of the organization. In between, there's a gray area, and here fall the gray hat hackers, are also commonly known as bug bounty hunters. So these people, like black hat hackers, don't ask for permission. The company already grants permission to any user in the world to perform hacking. Okay, so they don't specifically again ask for permission. And once they find a vulnerability, they report it back. So they do hacking or ethical hacking on a freelancing basis, you could say. Okay, and once they find a vulnerability, they report it back for a bounty. Okay, that bounty could be a money reward or a reputational reward or anything which benefits their career. Okay, so again, all these three types of hackers, whether that be black hat hacker or a gray hat hacker or a white hat hacker, perform hacking in a specific set of manners. Okay, and the procedures they follow are known as hacking cycle or cyber kill chain. So in the organization as well, whenever you perform pen testing, you follow the same procedure. Again, various companies divide these procedures into various numbers. But to simplify or to summarize it up, there are 5 important steps. Okay, there's something known as, firstly, something known as information gathering, which can also be called as reconnaissance or footprinting. Second step is scanning, which can also be called as enumeration. Third step is gaining access. Fourth step is maintaining access. And the last step is reporting or clearing traces. The reason why I've specifically mentioned "or" over here in capitals is because that is where it makes all the difference between a white hat hacker and a black hat hacker. So the first 4 steps are quite similar. What kind of a hacker you be does not matter. What varies for the types of hackers is the last step. So if you're a white hat hacker, you try to report all the steps taken which were necessary and along with the vulnerabilities that you found. If you're a black hat hacker, you definitely don't report it back. You try to take advantage of those vulnerabilities, try to exploit them, and try to get your benefit from it, and then remove all the evidences or remove all the traces, the footprints, and that is in simple terms known as clearing traces. Now let's briefly discuss about each of these steps one by one, so you have a clear picture of what you're going to be learning in the course. So the first step, as I've mentioned, information gathering. Now, as the name itself suggests, this step involves us to gather as much information as possible about the target passively. The more information you find about the target, the more attack vectors or the more possibilities you find to attack the target system. And the main question would be, Shoaib, what kind of information are we talking about over here? And this is the information as follows. So we try to gather information such as IP address, the range of IPs used by the target, their DNS server records, the employee details, such as the contact numbers, email addresses, fax numbers, usernames and passwords which were leaked on the internet, domain names, subdomains, and operating system information. And all this information is gained passively. Again, guys, note that it is very important to note that point, that passively is what I refer over that, is that trying to get this information from third-party sources. You're not going to contact the organization. The organization won't even have a hint that someone is searching this information about them. Okay, so if I show you a very basic example, if I wanted to get the let's say email addresses for any organization, I could just go to the browser and search for a website like hunter.io. And now this website does a very good job at streamlining all the email addresses for any organization. So if I search for, let's say, flipkart.com, if that's my target, and if I click on find email address, this starts showing me personal emails of the employees of Flipkart, as you can see. And if possible, it also tells us the designation they're working for: management personnel, and a couple more over here, technical staff, performance management, whatnot. Okay, and these are the emails of the working professionals of so-and-so organization. Okay, and it also tells you what source these emails were leaked from. Okay, so again, all this information is gathered from different resources on the internet. So Flipkart has no clue that someone is trying to get this information about. Similarly, after we are done with that first step, after getting all that information, now this is a very crucial step, guys. If you perform this step properly, almost 60% of your whole hacking cycle is almost done. Okay, in a correct manner. After scanning, then comes this. After information gathering, then comes the scanning phase, which is also known as enumeration. Okay, now this phase is used to gather some extra information in active methods which you could not get in the first phase. So you try to make active connections with the server. You try to use some tools to send some packets to the servers, your target server, and in response you try to get some information. Now when we talk about scanning, it's categorized into 3 types basically. So there's something called network scanning, then there's port scanning, and finally vulnerability scanning. Excuse me. In network scanning, we try to figure out on the target network what all devices are active. On those active devices, again, you perform port scanning to figure out all the open ports and the services running. Then finally, you perform vulnerability scanning to figure out on that target services, on the services that are running, on the applications that are running, what are the weaknesses and how do you attack on those weaknesses. Okay, once all this information is gained, once you know what all weaknesses are existing, once you know what are the pathways to attack the system, next step is obviously gaining access, trying to attack the system. Okay, now again, it's a vast concept, covers a huge variety of topics, and these are the list of them. So first topic that we'll be discussing in gaining access is system hacking, trying to crack or bypass a Windows operating system password. So whether that be Windows 7, 8, Windows 10, or whatever it be, does not matter. I'll be showing you how you can crack that Windows operating system password, or if you're unable to crack it, if it is too tough to crack, how do you bypass it and get access to the internal files. Again, if the system is in a remote location and you want to attack it remotely, then comes the next topic called malware. Malware stands for malicious software. Again, there's tons and tons of categories among them: viruses, worms, trojans, spyware, whatnot. And we practically understand how these malwares are created in real-time scenarios and how do you defend yourself from these different malwares. Then there's a bonus concept included as well, malwares advanced. In this, we'll be learning how to create our own malwares using the Python programming language. So we'll be learning how to write a keylogger. A keylogger is a spyware which, once installed on the target system, can capture all the keystrokes. So whatever keys that the user types on his system, usernames or passwords or any random content, each and every keystroke will be logged and sent to the attacker's machine. Okay. Then comes network pen testing, where we learn the common network attacks such as man-in-the-middle attack, sniffing attack, denial of service attacks, or hacking Wi-Fi routers, hacking wireless networks. Okay, to capture usernames and passwords that are flowing in a local network. All these come along the network pen testing part. Then comes social engineering, where I'll show you how hackers perform, or phishing attacks, how you will try to get fake links, or how to generate fake login pages and get the usernames and passwords from that. Then comes web application pen testing, where we'll discuss the common weaknesses that attackers can use on websites to get access to the internal server data or the database information or whatever it be. So there's a few vulnerabilities such as SQL injection, set scripting, broken authentication, file upload vulnerability. These are the weaknesses that usually hackers take advantage of. So how do we find these weaknesses and how do we exploit them? And how do we safeguard our website from these weaknesses is what we'll learn in that topic. Then comes vulnerability assessment, where we're using a very important tool called Metasploit framework. Again, the common tool that is used in organizations to perform manual testing on manual vulnerability assessment to check if the report or if a weakness is actually existing or if it is just a false positive report. Okay. Then comes hacking mobile phones to understand how to hack an Android phone remotely. How do we generate Android malwares, and using those malwares, how do you get access to the remote Android phone? Okay. Along with these, we have a few extra bonus topics as well, like such as understanding what is SOC, Security Operations Center, what is SIEM tools, Security Incident and Event Management tools, and we'll learn a very basics of what is Splunk. Splunk is a very important tool that is used in organizations to perform monitoring and logging of tickets for the cybersecurity part. Okay, so we'll learn that tool again. All the tools that we see, such as Burpsuite, Wireshark, Elma, Nessus, Splunk, all these are the tools that are used in organizations itself. To be frank and to be straightforward, the whole course is built in such a way where it's like you could say 40-20 ratio. The first 20 minutes in that 1 hour we'll learn the theoretical concepts, and the rest 40 minutes we're going to be discussing everything practically. So it's more 2/3 of more practical part compared to the theoretical concepts. So again, along with this course, and since not everyone could be from the technical background, we also have a few prerequisites included in the course directly. So we learn basically what is virtualization, how to install a lab setup, what is networking, what are Linux and Windows commands, and after all that is done, then we dive into the advanced concepts. So you don't need to learn anything else separately from any other location. Everything that is required for the course is already included in the course. Okay. And the whole course comes along with all the recorded sessions. So just in case if you're missing out any classes, you can go through the recordings as well from the Google Drive link that will be shared. And the whole duration for the course is 1 month. We'll have a class from Monday to Friday every day for 1 hour. Okay. So yeah, that's a very quick and a short demo on the CEH, the same thing which we saw in yesterday's session, guys. So any questions on your end, guys? Anyone? I guess there's Rohit, Sunil, Deepak, and yeah, that's that. Any questions or doubts from anyone? Hello? Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. Okay. Rohit, any questions? Sunil, any questions? Deepak, any questions? If not, I can end the session. Again, guys, you can contact the institute regarding the fees part. Again, as far as I know, the fees is 8,000, inclusive of all the whole live classes, the recorded sessions, the material, again, soft copy material, and all the tools that are included in the course. Most of the tools are cracked applications of the paid ones that are used in organizations. So all the tools will be sent, all the material will be sent online. And yeah, if there's any other technical queries, you can contact me on my number over here. If you have any queries regarding the fee duration, fee payment or the duration of the course, you can contact DURGASOFT directly. So yeah, that's that, guys. Nothing further to explain about the course.
I have a question. Yeah, can you clear the certification exam after attending this course?
Definitely, Sunil. If you're planning on writing the certification as well, I will be sharing the dumps as well for that certification, and I'll be providing the materials as well. So once you're done with the course, you can contact me. We also help in certifications. Okay, so we also do certifications as well. You can, after the course is done, you can just contact me, and I'll let you know about it. Okay, once you're done with the course, you can apply for the certification whenever you want to, and you can crack it easily. Not an issue at all. Okay. Hello, Sunil. To answer your question,
Yes,
I hope that.
yes, you did. And can we able to search a job after completion of this course?
Definitely, Sunil. Again, as I've mentioned, cybersecurity. I'm not sure if you have attended the session yesterday or not, but I've repeated this in yesterday's class as well. Finding a job in cybersecurity is not at all that tough compared to the job scenario in India right now. There's a lot of job openings in India for cybersecurity, and I usually show this in the course itself. But since you're asking, let me show you a website specifically for jobs in cybersecurity. You can just search for jobs.null.community. This is a website specifically for cybersecurity jobs in India. Okay, if you're planning as a fresher, you can just click on freshers and internship, and this shows you the openings for cybersecurity jobs. Okay, again, you have other websites also like Naukri, Indeed, whatnot, but this website jobs.null is specifically only for cybersecurity. Okay, and there's a lot of openings, frankly speaking. Okay, it's just that you have to learn the tools, if you have to acquire the skills properly, and I'll also be sharing the interview questions, the commonly asked questions. Okay, and that should be more than sufficient for you to crack an interview in this domain.
Okay,
Hello.
thank you.
Yeah, okay, so
So for like
yeah,
hacking, do we need to learn any coding languages?
no, not at all required. So there's one concept called malware advanced. Even in that, I'll be sharing the resources, whatever is required about the development part. Other than that, you don't require any coding level language or coding language knowledge at all. So there is a minimum to minimum requirement of coding in cybersecurity.
Coding or any networking knowledge?
Basic networking knowledge is very important to it. Again, we need to know what are IP addresses, what is IPv4, IPv6, what is DHCP, DNS protocol, and all those topics are already included in the course. Okay, so that is an important concept. We need to know basics of networking at least. But again, if you don't know them already, as I've mentioned, that is already included in the course. You don't need to go anywhere else to learn it separately.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay, guys. So yeah, that's it, guys. Nothing further to discuss about the demo session. Again, tomorrow also will be another demo, and from Thursday we'll be taking up the first session on networking concepts, networking classes. So if you're planning on enrolling, guys, please get it done at the earliest by tomorrow at least, and you can join the classes from day after tomorrow for the first session on networking. Okay. So yeah, thank you for being patient, guys. Thank you for attending the demo session today. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye.
Bye, guys. Bye bye.